So this one says perform the indicated operations again. Remember, these equatable multiply fractions is to multiply straight across as long as numbers aren't too big. So in our problem here, since these are the same radicals, I can just put this under one big radical. So the square root of 1 times 45 on the top. On the bottom, I can write this as 7 times x times x. Well, 1 times 45 is 45. And we can recognize that, 7 times x is just, I can just leave that as is for the time being. So what we can pick up on here is the top, maybe it could be simplified. We did this 45 a few times now. So they're giving us that same 45. We know that 2 doesn't work, but 3 goes into 45, 15. 3 goes to 15, 5, and 5 goes to 15 one time. So notice that 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 5 is 45. So what I can do is rewrite this as, another thing you can do on this problem is just put this as a radical on the top and a radical on the bottom. So 3 times 3 times 5 on the top and square root of 7 times x on the bottom. It may be easier to write that way. So I can actually separate it as 2 separate radicals on the top and bottom too. Notice how there's 2 3's on the top. That means I can actually bring a 3 out on the top. And since there's 2 x's on the bottom, I can bring an x out on the bottom. And since these radicals are not the same, I can't do anything with those. So we can leave this probably as 3 squared root of 5 times x times the square root of 7. And that's pretty much about all we can do with that. So that shows you some other little different ways that we can deal with radicals is if everything's in a radical, like I said at the beginning with, they weren't under the same radical, we can put them in the same radical. But then we can also break them back apart as separate radicals. It just depends on how you want to approach it. To me, it looked a little bit better to deal with if I broke that back apart as separate radicals.